All right, so get this. Today we're diving into someone you've probably never heard of, but absolutely should know about. Walter Russell.
And trust me on this one, his story is wild.
Seriously, the guy was a self-taught polymath, excelled in art, architecture, you name it, even science, like straight out of a movie.
Exactly, but instead of just listing off his accomplishments, which, believe me, are impressive,
Hmm.
we're going to try to see what we can learn from this guy.
Right, because it makes you wonder, how did he do it all? Was he just different?
Right, was he special? Or was there something about the way he approached life, something we could all maybe tap into?
Okay, so he starts out as this musical prodigy. Like by 13, he's supporting himself as a church organist, paying for art school and everything.
Wow, which tells you something right there.
Mhm.
Not just talent with music, but the business sense, the drive that young.
And that translates across fields because he becomes this sought-after painter. Even paints the frickin' Roosevelt children, like
Oh, yeah.
presidential portrait-level stuff.
You'd think, okay, this guy's found his thing. But not Russell. Nope. He decides to become an architect.
Wait, what?
No, seriously. And not just designing houses. We're talking multi-million-dollar buildings in New York City
Yeah.
with zero formal training.
Get out.
I'm serious. The Hotel des Artistes, it's still a landmark today. That's one of his.
It's like he lived 5 lifetimes in one. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. In his 50s, picks up sculpting.
Of course he does.
Creates these incredibly powerful monuments. You've probably seen pictures, the Mark Twain Memorial, his Four Freedoms piece.
All while exploring philosophy, science. I mean, the guy even made predictions about atomic elements that later turned out to be true. It really makes you question everything we think we know about talent, you know?
So was he just wired differently?
Well, Russell himself would say no. He believed anyone could achieve mastery.
Come on, anyone.
That's what he claimed. He believed there was this universal creative power, and he had these 5 laws of success.
Oh, I love a good framework.
Me too.
Oh.
But these aren't your typical hustle harder kind of tips.
So it's like mystical secrets or something?
Kind of. It gets a little out there, but stick with us. It's about aligning yourself with a higher power, becoming a conduit for something greater.
Okay, now this is where it starts to get really interesting.
Right, because it blurs the lines between practical advice and like deeper philosophical concepts.
Totally. So like what's an example?
So the first law is humility, but it's not about downplaying your achievements, right? Russell saw it as recognizing that you're an instrument for something bigger than yourself.
I kind of get that.
There's this great anecdote about him refusing tips as a young bellhop.
Really? Even though he needed the money?
Yep. He felt it wasn't his. Like it wasn't meant for him. Even at the height of his success, he had this crazy lack of ego. Always felt like he was just a channel.
Wow. Okay, so humility check. What's next?
His second law is reverence. Like approaching your work as a sacred act, not just a job.
Interesting.
Before going into his studio, he'd always take time for quiet reflection, almost like a ritual.
Wow.
Oh, and there's a story he had to sculpt Thomas Edison, right? So he's on the train heading to meet Edison, and he spends the entire ride in deep meditation.
It's like he was, what, tuning his awareness or something?
Yeah.
Before he even started working?
Exactly. And that brings us to his third law inspiration.
Okay, so like divine downloads, that kind of thing.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't about just waiting around for a good idea. Russell believed you had to work for it. You know, align yourself with what he called these like universal rhythms. And it came from solitude, focused desire.
That makes sense, actually. When you think about it, those aha moments, they usually come after you've been really focused on something, right? Or even just taking a break from it.
Right, except in Russell's case, it wasn't just figuring out a tough problem. He was having these huge scientific breakthroughs, supposedly.
No way. Just from like chilling out.
Well, not just chilling. And this is key. It's one thing to have the insight, the inspiration, but you got to do something with it, right? Make it real.
Otherwise, it's just a daydream.
Exactly. And that's where his fourth law comes in. Deep purpose.
Okay, so not just setting goals.
Nope, bigger than that. It's like this intense focus, unwavering. He channeled it into everything.
Yeah, we talked about his insane work ethic earlier. Like the guy was a machine.
Right. And there's this story about him mowing his lawn. Sounds kind of boring, but
Now, let me guess. He made it fascinating somehow.
he'd mow these intricate patterns into the grass.
Get out.
Turned a chore into an art.
Man, that's kind of inspiring.
Speaks to his mindset, right? Finding joy and meaning in everything.
Okay, so that leads us to the last one, right? Joy.
Fifth law, nailed it. And this wasn't just about feeling good, it was deeper.
Deeper how?
Russell saw it as what happens when you're aligned with your true purpose. like becoming a vessel for that creative energy. He actually said he never felt truly tired as long as he was in that state.
Really? So no burnout. I don't buy it.
He claimed it,
Mm-hmm.
which I think challenges the whole, you know, hard work equals suffering thing we've bought into.
Yeah, like success has to be a grind. This guy's messing with everything I thought I knew.
Right, and this ties into this whole life triumphant idea, basically redefining what success
It's
is.
not about money, fame.
Nope. It's about aligning with your core values, using your unique gifts, and contributing something meaningful.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool. But, like, isn't that a little, I don't know, woo-woo for some people?
Maybe, but isn't it kind of what we all want deep down? To live a life with purpose, do work that matters?
True. And it's funny because for someone who achieved so much in the real world, the buildings, the art, he sure did talk a lot about the intangible stuff too.
Totally. He was really into the interconnectedness of everything. Like, we're not just these separate beings, but part of something much bigger.
Right. And he believed our thoughts literally shape our reality.
Ooh, okay, now we're getting out there.
Like we're somehow drawing energy from some kind of universal source. Come on.
That was his thing. He even compared it to an electrical circuit.
Mm.
Our desires are like the wires, and they channel that energy into being, into, reality.
Okay, but thoughts aren't exactly hardwiring, right?
Well, he'd say we're the ones holding the tools, deciding where those wires go.
Yeah.
We're not just thinking, we're creating.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just have these vague wishes. We have to focus, give them direction. That's where the power is.
So it's manifestation, basically, like all those self-help gurus talking about visualizing your dream life.
Kind of, but on a much grander scale. He took it a step further.
Oh boy, how much further can we go?
Get this, Russell believed there's only one thinker in the universe.
Okay, now you're just messing with me.
I'm serious. And all of our individual thoughts, just extensions of that one universal mind. Wild.
That's a lot to process. So we're all connected, all part of some giant cosmic brain.
That was his idea. Even if it sounds a little out there, makes you think, right?
Mm.
If there's even a tiny bit of truth to that, then our thoughts, our intentions, they have way more power than we realize.
And responsibility, too, I'd imagine.
Exactly. It's not just about manifesting a new car. It's about realizing that every thought, every action contributes to this, collective reality.
Wow, suddenly that to-do list doesn't seem so important anymore.
Right. It puts things in perspective. But it's also pretty amazing. Because if our thoughts really can shape reality, then we have the power to make it better, kinder, more beautiful, more
in line with who we truly are, I guess.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the mind-bending world of Walter Russell,
A man of many talents, to say the least.
he left us with more than just incredible art and groundbreaking ideas. He left us with a question.
A big one.
What kind of world are you creating with your thoughts and actions today?
Something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.